الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العظيم.
In our conversations with many of you through the engagement we've had over the years and some more recently, you brought to us attention, to our attention that actually there are lots of challenges that are facing the masjids in our borough and also the Muslim community as well. And think not just the challenges, but also there's been almost like a plea that, look, come and work with us. We also want to kind of think about how we can better support the wider community, educate, raise awareness, and reduce some of the stigma that is associated with the Muslim community. So you have actually come to us. One of the things we were quite keen to do is we've looked around in Ealing, and unfortunately there isn't, I think, an established council of mosques like in some other areas. There is a multi-faith forum. I think that's been something that's been looked into, but some of you have also told us that you felt that that forum wasn't necessarily addressing your needs, or you didn't feel that you quite kind of fitted in with that forum. So there was this gap, and we've talked to some of you, and so the purpose is just bringing you together today to kind of set these meetings, and really it should be led by you in terms of what you want to get out of it, and how we as a council, but also our police colleagues, and I think some of them are on their way, they're stuck in traffic, but yeah, how we can better support you collectively. That's one of the key things I wanted to kind of put forward today. The purpose then will be that whilst we've kind of led on the coordination of this, that actually the council steps back. It shouldn't be a council meeting. We shouldn't have to coordinate this. You coordinate it, and then you invite us in, and you tell us. So that's kind of our dream, if you like. Inshallah, please make dua for us. We are very sincere in our efforts to really support the community. And please don't be hindered by any labels or any views that you might have about the roles that we play, inshallah. And some of you will know that we're very, very passionate to support the communities that we aim to serve.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. To start with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَتَعَوْنَ عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Surah Ma'idah, Ayah 2. And after that, Allah said again, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُ. Allah will not change the condition of the people unless there's a change within themselves. And the first ayah, incorporate into righteous good deeds and piety. It's really, these two ayahs is powerful. All ayahs of the Quran are so powerful. My background is therapist, but I worked in the prison and probation service for the last 10 years, working with high-risk offenders. But when I looked at the proportion of the Muslim percentage in the United Kingdom and Wales, it's about 6%, 7%. But when I looked at the Muslim population inside custody, 1/3. Shocking. 1/3. Well, I worked 6 years in Wormwood Scrubs. And every day, we have about 372 Muslim men who are serving a good sentence there. But when they get released, we do so much work. When they get to the gate, I worry. I always worry because I don't know what's going to happen after they leave the gate of the prison. Guess what happened? Mustafa Muhammad back again next week. What happened, Muhammad? Nothing. I went to this place, I went to this institution, I went to this masjid. There was a little help, but not enough. And what I found is many of our guys, when they get released, the institution were helping them the most were, unfortunately, the church. In Victoria, in Acton, And I thought, I have all no. We have the biggest population in prison, and how can we make it work?
Brothers, especially Sheikh Ramzy, invite me to talk here. Usually, let me tell you one or two things about myself, and after that, of course, we talk about the local communities. I'm Imam of the Oxford University, and of course, director of one of the directors of the Oxford Brooks University. We very closely working with the students to see the mental side and how they perform it. And of course, I'm a director of the Universal Peace Federation. I come more often to London than to stay in Oxford. Director of the Universal Peace Federation, Lancaster Gate, for the number of years we working together for peace, and of course for a number, for a number of years. I'm working with the Muslim Council of Britain several years as a director of chair of the education for about 15-20 years. I'm the chair of education and working with the Muslim and Islamic religions, many have been, and many, you name it, all they come and say, Sheikh, can you come? If you come there, and I'm sure that Brother Showkat is there, and we will say, if you come there, come without you. Hi. This is the way which we do it. Of course, I do the international. I'm more on the humanitarian side of the international, working with the United Nations, I'm working with the ICC and all. I'm working. My work is in 3 ways at the moment. And for the Rohingyas, which we are trying to bring the government of the Burma to court, which my lawyers and barristers are doing it with the help of course, many, the help of the government this country, inshallah. We say inshallah. Many they say, yes, we are behind you, but how far behind? Maybe 20 miles. I don't know. But still they help it, they give it. And of course, other one is the Uyghurs. The Uyghurs, the 3 million is the Chinas. 3 million people in China which are stranded because they are saying Allah, because they've got the Quran. This is what we are trying to last night, before we were in the hospital and talking about it. And of course, through the interfaith, which I'm of course one of the director of international interfaith, we are trying to talk to the Buddhists and Hindus and all to get it. And the last one is which is completely forgotten is Kashmir. Kashmir is a place which have been really bad. Of course, I invited the president of Kashmir a few weeks ago in the Central Mosque, and we're talking about it, how we can improve, how we can help these. Humanitarian is all humanitarian, but we're doing legal and humanitarian, and we need all together. On the matter of the community, we work with the community a lot of course, as I said, I wanted to put in the Islamophobia and extremism. I work very close with CCMR, which is a Council of Muslim and Christian Relation. We're working on the Highwaycom. Highwaycom is a very, very sensitive place. I'm sure the Private Enemy knows what has happened. And we are trying to go to schools. The schools and education is a very, very, very important. Because it's our children has been groomed. It's our children, innocent little children has been groomed to go on and be extremists. To go and do these awful things. And they put themselves and the parents and everybody's in trouble. They have been groomed. They are innocent people. Of course, inshallah, we are talking to the Prophet and everybody to solve it out, because it is not a problem for the Muslim. It's a community. It's a problem for the whole community as a one Muslim and Muslim community to look after this. And of course, the last one is Islamophobia. Islamophobia, unfortunately, but we're going forward toward the Brexit and all. It will get worse. It will get worse. You better. And of course, I'm working with the IPPG, which of course, as a parliamentarian, to get a definition. I remember, God bless them all, to get a definition. The last time I was in the Weber Google with the brother, of course, invited us, and the head of the Home Office was there. And I said, he said, we are doing that, we are doing that. I said, nobody, and I stand up, of course, to let me stand up. I said, nobody knows Islamophobia. There is nothing called Islamophobia. It's a Muslim phobia. Islam has been for 1400 years peaceful. How come and Sharia or Islamic jurisprudence has not changed at all? How could suddenly it change? Is a Muslim can change. But Islam is exactly the same. It's a peaceful religion. If you tell Donald Trump what Islam is, he says it's good. But you say what a Muslim, well, that's not. Therefore, what we are trying to talk is we got a definition of Islamophobia, which is called racist, anti-racist, of course. We are trying at the moment with the London boroughs, a few of the London boroughs and Manchester and the Oxford, we put the motion to the council, which I would like, if we can do it, of course, right, to do it, council, and they adopt this definition, because definition hasn't been known to nobody. Theresa May said, I don't know the definition. And when I asked, of course, the head of the Prevent and the head of the Home Office, they didn't know. They didn't know what the definition really is. Just call it Islamophobia. It's a xenophobia. That's a different. However, if we could do it in Oxford, we are trying to do it. A couple of London boroughs, they've done it already. We are copying that in Oxford. In a couple of weeks, they are going to do that. Except the county council or city council can accept that definition, and after that, the police will take over. He says, okay, definition is that you are done a racist remark. It's not, I don't know what Islamophobia is. You know, that's coming as a racist, and they can help, of course. I'm one of the director of the Tell Mama as well, Thames Valley Tell Mama Foundation. Just Google me if you want to find out who is that. Sheikh Ramzy, Dr. Ramzy. We do everything for humanitarian. I am for the working for the people. And of course, what we have, my brothers, as our brother says, of course, many, about 12 to 13% of the Muslims are in the earth. 13% of the prisoners are Muslims. The majority. Why? Why the majority are Muslim? Does that Islam say that? What we need to do, we need to look after our children. Look after our children. It's very, very important to look after children. This is the fruit of my life. It comes a thorn to somebody's eyes. This is wrong. What we have to do, we have the responsibility as well. To look after, doesn't matter how old is that. Look after them. One brother came to me and said, Sheikh, can you pray? Of course, I'm Imam. Sheikh, can you pray for my son? He's getting 10 years. I said, 10 years? SubhanAllah, what did I do? He said, did I drug? I said, go away. How could I do going on drugs? Selling drugs and getting drugs? SubhanAllah, what are they looking for? It's very important, my brothers. Very important, which look at the community, and the mosque and the schools can do it. Mosque, we're going to the many schools and prevent them. Of course, we're talking about Islam, we're talking about the Christianity, we're talking about Judaism and all. It's very important they know and they understand. Not that Islam is best and forget about it. It's very important they understand, otherwise at the moment they play with each other on the primary, and when they come up they fighting and they knife each other. It's very important, as you say, if you damage one person, you know, if you kill, in Islam is if you kill one person, you can kill a nation. If you save one person, you save one nation. It's very important we look after these brothers. Many Somali brothers come in and talk to me and say, can you come and give some lecture to these young brothers? They come, hundreds of them getting together, and we talk about please come. We need the role model as well, role model, which goes forward. Mosque can do it. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muslim Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were teaching interfaith. At that time, not now, at that time, because there were not the schools. At that time they were teaching interfaith, because the first charter written in the world was the Medina Charter. And under the Medina Charter, everybody was equal. Everybody was a Jewish, Muslim and non-Muslim, and were equal. And they were teaching to children, respect them. Respect that. Don't fight with each other. Respect is very important. If I respect your religion, Hindus or Sikh or Judaism or Christian, you respect mine. I gain the respect of mine. It's very, very important. My brothers and sisters, what we can do, of course, we have to work together. What we got a job to do. Save our children. And work with others. Knife crime is huge. As the brother said, of course, many. I never believed it until, of course, we can see. Knife crime is huge. And many of our brothers are involved. They have to understand, and the mosques are more responsible. And the schools, because the schools are responsible to teach them. We are, of course, we are talking with the head of education, the Minister of Education, to how can we bring interfaith in the schools. They don't know anything about each other. We go in there with the Muslim and Christian and whether Christian and Jews. We go into there's a mosque in the highway come. Of course, someone will say, Sheikh, they are a little bit difficult. Can you come and talk to them? Okay, no, we come talk to them and they get relaxed. They understand what Islam is. And they understand Islam, allowed to talk, allowed to say, God bless you. Lakum dinukum waliyadin. Yours is yours, mine is mine. Bless you. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said. Lakum dinukum, yours is yours, but not fighting and arguing. These are very important, my brother. Save our children from the knife crime, save our children from the extremism, which is the worst. Islam is the most peaceful religion. Islam is a leading religion in the world. If you look at it, but unfortunately, they made it so bad. Some few bad apple. So made it so bad. If I say in the middle of the road, middle of the street, Allahu Akbar, the police gonna arrest me. SubhanAllah. Oh, he said Allahu Akbar. I'm scared. Maybe he said, did you hear what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm a missionary. 35 years missionary. I know. If he said Allahu Akbar. And one needed the police. Name of Allah, name, beautiful Allah, a most merciful. What we doing to that? Come back again. The mosque has to do it. The schools, all the school has to. Let's get together. We are united. We are a British family. We are not one Pakistani family or one that family. We are British family. One family, united. United we stand strong, disunited we destroy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sheikh. Inspector Huck.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Thank you for inviting me today. I think Sheikh Ramzy's talk was very good and it's a hard one for me to follow. I think first of all I owe you all an apology for my delay here really. But just to put you in the picture, I had another community event in Wandsworth beforehand, which was a huge bringing the community together from all different walks of life, societies, and that was quite a good event actually earlier on. So we were double booked and I didn't want to let anybody down, so here I am, better late than never. The corporate line really, if I start first of all, what my role is. At the moment, my current job is, I work at New Scotland Yard, so I deal with crime prevention, inclusion and engagement for the Met Police. So my role is working all across London, going to different communities, see what the issues are there. Okay? So that's part of it. London is changing. So London, there's lots of things going on. The population is over 8 million people now. There's over 300 languages spoken in London. And as an organisation, obviously, we realise that we have one community, everybody, but with differing needs. So it's trying to identify what those differing needs are. Our vision really is to make sure that London is the safest global city that there is. Make sure that obviously we're the best crime fighters. I think the key things really are earn the truth and confidence of every community. So this is where you will come into this. And I think the other thing is obviously we want to take pride in the quality of service that we provide. But in order to provide a quality of service, we have to understand the community that we serve to be able to tailor it to that. So different boroughs, different regions have different needs. So that is fundamentally what my role is, trying to bring communities together to deal with that. The second part of my role is I'm actually the Vice Chair of the Association of Muslim Police. So that's for the Metropolitan Police Service. We've got a workforce of about 50,000 people. So out of 50,000 people, 20,000 are civilian staff. So we have a huge array of jobs that are non-police related, if that makes sense. And our policing numbers are about 30,000 police officers. So again, vast and wide, we deal with many different things. We're one of London's sort of biggest employers, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realise that. And obviously in terms of our policing response, we deal with about 10,000 calls a day. So it's quite a lot. And obviously with government changes, budgets and all the rest of it, it's quite a hard task to meet everyone's demand. But going back to my role as a Vice President of the Association of Muslim Police, we dealt with a lot of the terrorist incidents that happened, building the confidence and trust of the communities again. You know, when things like Grenfell happened, for instance, we were there when they stormed the council buildings. People couldn't understand, you know, why the authorities didn't, you know, understand what our thought processes were. So I came in to build sort of confidence and trust in what we're doing. Internally as well, when we had Punish a Muslim letter, that came to the Association of Muslims first actually. It wasn't actually reported to the police. Obviously we are the police, so we had to then report an escalator. And as it was, with everybody's help, we've ended up with a successful prosecution. That was positive work. But again, I think the feedback isn't always, you know, we've had lots of feedback in terms of how we deal with things, what we do. And I think as a community, the important thing is that, you know, what you all feel. Sometimes people feel that they want to suffer in silence. We don't want to create a fuss. We don't want people to think that we're causing a scene. So, you know, people will grin and bear it, you know. But I think the thing is, we need to come forward. We need to say, look, we're not happy with this. We want to do something. It's easy to sit at home and grumble about things that we're not happy about. But in order to make change, we have to be part of the change. And that's the thing. We have to embrace that and be confident enough to say, look, I'm not happy with this. I'd like something done about it. I want to give my name forward. I'd like to make a statement. And what I want to do really is encourage you to have confidence in that ability. I've only been in my role for the last 2 months, really, since October. And I think in the time that I'm in my role, I aim to go all around London to support all communities, and try and find out what it is the communities need, and try and tailor what the local policing plan is to aim to people needs. So it is so important to have dialogue and communication. And I think so. This is a beautiful mosque, really good environment, and I think sometimes we have open days like, you know, love your mosque or meet your community. You know, you should open it up to everybody, so people can come and visit, see what the Muslim community are about. But, you know, they shouldn't be afraid. You know, when people do silly things out there, everybody gets tarnished with the same brush. And I feel sometimes that as a Muslim community, we feel we have to apologise for every act that, you know, well, we shouldn't do, should we really? And I think the media have a lot to play in it as well. The media like to put a spin on everything, and I think the thing is, the media want to sell papers. They want to, you know, that's their business. So what we need to do is not believe everything the media press, you know, publish, and equally not sit in silence and fear of it. So, you know, for me, it's really important that you have confidence and courage. We are an established community, like Sheikh said, you know, we are British Muslims. We've been here for many, many years. Yes, our ethnicities may be different, but we stand for the same values. For years and years, as you say, the Muslim community have been known as a peaceful community. So what has changed? Is it our silence? Is it the fact that we've become complacent? Years ago, you know, many of our brothers and uncles had to fight long and hard to stand up for what we believe in, set up our communities. But that sort of seemed to fizzle out a little bit. We seem to be sat on the more comfortable side of things, saying, you know, we're not happy, but equally we're not happy to do things about it. I think some of the other reasons are as well is people say, no, you shouldn't go to these meetings because they want to spy on you. You know, they want to do this and the other on you. I'm not here for any of that. I'm not part of any other. All I want to do is say, look, you know, we're here to support the community. You know, the police can't support the community without the community's support in the first place. Unless the community come forward and say, look, we want to see these changes. We're not confident in why the police did this. We want some answers. Look, this person was arrested. Why? You know, as a community, you can ask these questions, and your local police service are accountable to the service they provide you. So if you're not happy with something, or you want something, you need to come forward and talk about it and say about it. Not grumble at home, oh, we're not happy, you know. We've all been there, you know, I moan about things when I go home. But what I need to do is say, no, actually, there's a platform for this, there's an arena for this. So we need to bring that to the table to make those changes. Going back to the Vice Chair, you know, what we do is we've got many officers and members of staff. I'm not saying as an organisation we get it right. There are many powers and policies in place, and including government legislation. But the thing is, not everybody follows it. You know, you could have an organisation of so many people, but it just takes one person to do one wrong deed, and and then everyone thinks, well, actually, they must all be like that. You know? And I think that's what we need to move away from. But we support our officers and staff in, doing salah, in doing fasting, doing Ramadan, and the Met Police recognise all those things. We have prayer rooms that allows officers to go and do their prayer. We have lots of things in place. When it was Ramadan, for instance, this year, some officers, because of the days were so long, some officers wanted to have time off for that. We facilitated that. We put out advice in advance to the organisation to say, look, you've got Ramadan coming up, you've got officers who are doing the same duties as people not in Ramadan. How are we looking after these people? And equally, the other thing is, it's not just my officers and staff, we've got people being arrested for Muslim. Okay? So when it's coming up to time to break your fast, what sort of thing have we got in place for when these people, it's time to break their fast? Have we got provision in place for this? What are we doing about this? So we offer a lot in terms of advice, and we've made a lot of changes in how we look after our detained people, how we look after our staff, and if we're not happy about something, we bring it to the table. We do it in a very constructive way, so much so that we've been told we are the staff association of choice. So when there's an issue or problem, we won't just bring a problem to it, we'll bring a solution as well. So, okay, we've identified this as a problem, these are the possible solutions. If you don't use those, obviously you have to, we're accountable to the Quality Act and all the rest of it, but equally you have an unhappy workforce. The other side of my portfolio that I deal with is recruitment, so I'm now the silver outreach for recruitment from London. So that in itself is a hard task. And what I'd like to say, nationally speaking, I don't know if you're aware, but the percentage of officers, I mean, somebody in the room has given me that. What do you think the percentage of BME officers are, so black, minority, anything for the UK? Any ideas?
4%.
4%.
I think we should be 8%. We are trying to push very hard to get all the brothers and sisters. Yes, many, we should go forward. I remember we had a school. It's very important to get all those officers, Muslim officers, be with the force. It's a great job. Sorry.
Yes. Any other ideas on the floor? So basically, we have, for the whole of the UK population, in terms of policing, 6% are from minority groups. So black, and so less of that percentage is going to be Muslims. So the point is, 94% of police are white officers. Okay, they come from multitude of backgrounds, and obviously they have, they've grown up in a certain way, so they have certain understanding. So the point is, when you have people from these communities, they can only learn or see, about what they can understand about other communities. But how are we going to change that? The only way we're going to change it is by having our youngsters join. So you can only make change by being part of the change. You cannot make change without. We can't sit on the outside and say we're not happy with the way this is going on. So if we don't have enough police officers or police staff to come and police us, how are we going to be happy with the service? So what I'd urge is, whilst I'm in this position, I would like, people saying I don't feel confident with joining the police because they're racist, or they might treat us badly, or I'd like to hold workshops to say, well, why do you think that is? How do we break down those barriers? How do we encourage people on a grassroots level to join? That's what I'd like to do. I want to inspire people because, believe it or not, I can retire for the next 5 years. In 5 years' time, I can retire and I can go. I've done my time. And what I'd like to see is a legacy left behind. I don't want to see our communities being isolated. But what we're doing by not joining is isolating ourselves. So we need to take those small steps to be part of that change. And I'd love all of you guys to be involved in that, to make that happen.
Excellent.
That's good.
Thank you. Thanks very much. This year in London, 3 masajid have been given a beacon mosque status. 2 masajid have been given 5-star status, and 1 masajid has been given 4-star status. The 2 5-star, one is Masajid in Barking, Al-Madina Centre on the east side, and on the west side is Al-Manar Centre, the Muslim Cultural Heritage Centre in South Kensington, and in the north of London is Rumi Centre, run by the Turkish community. These 3 centers, they are really making a change in their community. In Barking, for instance, they do everything a masajid should do. They have 5 daily salah, they have Jummah prayer, they have iftar, they have Taraweeh prayer, but beyond that they have 40 other activities running on a weekly basis. 40. They feed the homeless, they have yoga classes for sisters, they have boxing classes for youth, they have an offenders support unit, they have an elderly daycare program every single week. The masjid is open 24/7, really helping the community. This masjid, for instance, the chief executive, the senior board members of the council, consults the management of the mosque on major issues in the community. The masjid is helping in the decision-making process. Okay? The executive director of the masjid and his team, he has trustees of the masjid, male and female, and the youngest is 18 years old. 18-year-old person involved in the decision-making of the masjid. On the west side, Al-Manar, I wanted to show you a video. You know, in that masjid, when the Grenfell Tower disaster occurred, I know some of you have been also involved with the Grenfell, supporting the Grenfell disaster people. This masjid, within a few hours of the disaster, was supporting the people that were made homeless by the fire. Okay? The management of the mosque totally changed the operational facility of the masjid. People were sleeping in the masjid from day one. Okay? Relief activities came and were being run from this center. The police, the council used that masjid as a disaster nerve center. Okay? This masjid now, you may have heard, I wanted to show you the video of how Meghan Markle, you know Meghan Markle, the princess that just married, which one?
Prince Harry.
Prince Harry.
Not well.
So she, you know, she donated £200,000 to make the masjid kitchen world class. She did it by taking the recipes of the ladies from the Grenfell disaster who cooked, because the masjid had a kitchen. The kitchen was being used by the people who were made homeless to make recipes. She took the recipes, put it in a book, sold the book and gave the money to the masjid. And now she comes to the masjid and helps to cook with the women from the Grenfell disaster. But the masjid provided the facility. Okay? When last year, during this December, the temperature in London dropped below, either this December or January, the temperature dropped below 10 degrees, minus 10. The masjid opened up the door for the homeless, and we had over 100 homeless people sleeping in the masjid. The masjid now receives so many donations, so many packs that they don't have the facility to host where the packs need to be hosted. There's so many people coming forward and helping in the masjid. Just one example. Again, 30, 40 programs running every day. During the week from the masjid. And the Rumi Center in the north, just the same. The reason why these masajid have become integrated within the leadership of the council is because the masjid governance, the masjid management, and the masjid processes were A1. A1. So when the fire brigade, the police, the Red Cross, the homeless charities, the departments of the council came to the masajid to say, we want to work with you, we want to give you the money and the grants to work with you, prove to us that you've got the management system in place. When you opened up the books, when you showed their policies and procedures, they were spot on. The council said, we are ready to work with you as partners. The question today is your masajid, is your madrasa, is your Islamic center, from a technical governance perspective, open, transparent and running in an effective way. If it is, then these people here are ready to partner with you and work with you and bring the resources to make your organization a partner in delivering the services. If you're not, Faith Associates, the council, the people on this table are ready to work with you to get to that beacon status. So inshallah, if you want to help to deliver the challenges that Umar was talking about, helping the homeless, helping the offenders, helping youth, helping women, helping in domestic violence, helping in out-of-school services, this council is ready to work with you because they need local partners. This is the objective of today, is to understand your needs, understand your strategic objective, and see how these services can work with you to become partners to make Southall and to make this region the most effective partnership possible. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
When we look at Allah's book, Allah tells us that everything in Surah Nahal, every answer to our solution, any problems that we have in life, the answer is in the Quran. Allah tells us in the Quran. So when we look at the Quran, we look at how many times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned mercy and compassion. How many times, subhanAllah, I was just looking at the statistics, and you know there are 227 times that Allah mentioned mercy and 200 verses about compassion. And all we need as a community to come together and be compassionate about those who are less fortunate to us. And especially, you know, the mosques, to open their doors. Yesterday, when I did my Salatul Jummah, I asked the prisoners, I asked my sisters in Islam, but I'm coming over here, what message shall I take over there? And they gave me some points. One of them was that they want to continue learning about Islam when they're out, because when they come into prison, they are often confused, very anxious, agitated, worried, through various trauma and so forth. When they clutch into Islam or learn about Islam, they found stability and a sense of belonging and security. And in my 30 years, wallahi, I tell you, I've seen lives transformed like anything. But unfortunately, that's within the prison. Once they leave prison, there's nothing for them. Wallahi, I'm ashamed. We Muslims, what pathetic state we're in at the moment. We should be doing much more, because I've been here, I've been in chapter nearly for 30 years, and I haven't seen many changes from the community. Not much has been done, and I wish, inshallah, today it won't be just talk, it'll be action. It'll be action. All I want, and I'm appealing to the mosques to open their doors and allow the women prisoners, when they leave the prison, to come out. If we can have some sort of, self-awareness or any contact that you can give me, the mosque can give me, that I can pass on to them, so when they're released, they can go there and start the Islamic classes. And so they asked me for the usual thing. Primarily, they wanted to continue learning Islam when they're in prison. And I bring that message to you, that we need to be, the mosques in the UK, to please open their doors to your Muslim sisters who have suffered so much, but have found the treasure and beauty of Islam within the 4 walls. And please give them a chance. Thank you.
It's basically hate crime and racist behaviour, which clearly is an offence. And if somebody's actions are criminal and they're motivated by hatred or objection to someone's faith, then that is an offence and it should be reported. Comment, there's a lack of reporting. Lots of things do go unreported, and the reasons for that are probably very complex. It's down to perhaps confidence or confidence in the response. And there's a proper definition, and I think we should start adopting a consistent definition, and then you can start to have meaningful comparisons in different places, different areas, and the response to that then. Whereas is it from? I think it's born out of fear and ignorance, and I think it probably is as simple as that. A fear of changes, and I think the older generation who see, maybe they see the nature of their neighbourhood change, and nobody likes that, especially get to an older age. Often fear is irrational, and there's a strong feeling that media, the mainstream media, seems to stir that up. Politicians do for other means, which are normally self-serving. We've got social media in the mix, because I think social media stirs things up, and it hasn't even got some of the checks and balances that the mainstream media is supposed to have. We know that's not there. Fear and ignorance comes from Muslims can be identifiable as that, and other religions people aren't necessarily the case. So it makes if you're feeling fearful, it makes the focus of your fear someone that you can identify. Is Islamophobia becoming more mainstream? And there's a feeling on the table that it probably was. And does that link with the rise of the extreme right wing? And it seems to do that. And I know Brexit came up, and I'm loath to mention it, but certainly it just seems that there's been a backwards move in terms of people feeling like they're part of a larger community, which hasn't helped in terms of feeding this type of work. Is good work publicised? And sorry, I still couldn't remember. Who's the bear with the thing over his eye? I still can't remember his name. The one on the Children in Need. Is it Children in Need? Pudsey. Yeah, Pudsey. Everybody knows the good work Pudsey does, and yet we heard what happened after Grenfell fire, and I bet most people don't know about that. So I think there's a perception. I don't think we can rely on the media to put out those videos. So maybe does there need to be TV debates, engagement, better communication? Does there need to be a charismatic public figure? I'm not only saying because he seems charismatic is Boris. I'm not saying anything that comes out from his mouth is that, but he seems to be somebody that people will listen to and give the time of day to and give his opinion. So maybe he's somebody who is charismatic like him. It needs people to participate in public life, in local politics, in national politics, just to change the perception, to change the viewpoints, to change the arguments and the messages that go out there. As Ian pointed out, it's a counter-narrative to all the negative messages. You know, is there a pride in the history, the contribution to the world? Am I not right? The first serious doctors and everything were Muslims who advanced things hugely. Are mosques good at engaging with children? And that probably comes to the point that we had over here, so I won't say any more than that. So I know that's gone on and probably went slightly off, but it was all those topics, those points were relevant to Islamophobia and probably countering it. And it is fear and ignorance for me is the key thing. People are frightened of what they don't know and understand.
There is so much out there, and we can facilitate that. That's one of our jobs through the council and the police. We have these providers, these projects, these organisations that all they need is space, and they'll come and do that. Yeah. So all the things you're saying, it's possible. But what we need is almost like a will from you to say, come and use our space. These are the times that we can link you in with all these civil society groups, etc., that can do that advice and advocacy. So you don't actually have to do it yourself. If you want to do it yourself, and you've got people in the community that are lawyers or they're, counsellors and doctors and whatever it might be, that's fine. But there are services there that are funded that all they need is a space to come and do a surgery or a workshop.
We also have Muslim food banks as well, so again, I can pass that information out. It's a new group set up fairly recently, but again, I don't think the word's out there fully, so again, I can facilitate that. Going back to something like the youngsters, what we're finding is statistically, especially in Islington, a lot of the refugee kids that are coming over, they're being used joining gangs, and because of the things that they've seen, unfortunately they've been, adopted or groomed by the gangs to go and stab someone, go and do this. That's why we're seeing these numbers rise. Is how do we support these children?
I mean, what I thought up in Islington was, when I went to the project, they did ask me to speak there, was they had youth workers going out in the high-vis jackets at night, going on the street, engaging with kids. That they don't come into the youth project, but to get them in, you've got to engage with them, they've got to know you, and then you can draw them in. as I said, it's building that part, building relationships, which is so important. If you don't, even like, you know, children early years, I've got an early years background, so like 10 years, if you don't build relationships with children and families, you're not going to get them into school. And, you know, it starts from such a young age, but it's something that we need to look at doing. I think Croydon had an initiative, I think I saw it last year on the news, I'm not sure. They're doing something over there where it's the voice of the youth, and that's sort of, it's informing what they're doing, informing their practice. So I think that is really important, like the voice of the child. It's really important.
Can I just add to that point about youth, because this is something that I work a lot in myself. I think we need to also have some research into the youth. And you might think it's a bit of a strange thing to say. And I'll give you one small example, and I'm sure my Somali brothers here will be able to concur with what I'm saying. In Birmingham, where I'm from, and I'm sure this is all over the UK, I work with Somali groups, and a lot of the youngsters and the youth, and maybe slightly older than youth, adults, and it might sound very strange, but some of them are suffering from PTSD because they've come from a war zone. I see violence because I live in it, that's where I live, and I see mindless violence. I'm not saying that violence doesn't exist, and you know, those who know me know that I have a background, but the violence that I see now, when a guy runs another guy down because he's got a beef with him, he pulls him over in a car, he gets out and he stabs him, and then when his mum comes out to look at the child, he stabs his mother as well. And then the mother dies and the child survives. It's happening on Coventry Road in Small Heath a couple of months ago. My point is that I try to look a little bit deeper, that why are these kids behaving like that? What's the root cause of that? And we've done a lot of research, but some of these, I'm not just talking only from the Somali community, but in the Somalis that I work with, they've told me that, brother, some of these people have come from war zones, they've been displaced, they've been refugees, they've seen death, hunger, starvation, and hardship. Where's the support structure for them? So a lot of people that are dealing with these kind of youth-related issues need to also factor that in as well. Maybe that might not apply to my son, who's brought up in the UK, but for those who have come from other countries, you need to look at their backgrounds and what support they need.
You need to look at the behaviour, so what that is causing. So working in schools, why is the child behaving like that? So when you go back and you dig back, something going on at home, this is happening, that's happening, they witness violence, whatever. There is a cause. There is a cause.
I think it's starting to recognise, they've captured the phrase adverse childhood experience, ACEs they call it now, and it links back to PTSD. And I said those children from a young age have been involved in seeing stuff in this country and some of the stuff that's worse that's happened in war zones. It's recognised that's the case. They live in high anxiety. They can actually do medical scans of brains now, and they can see how children's brains are developed differently. So you don't have the empathy and the concern, and you have a low tolerance. They don't get affected by being involved in extreme violence. So it's recognised, and now we've got technology to show where brains were developed differently. So I think that's starting to, we're only starting to recognise it in our own soldiers and everybody now, let alone children. So I think it's something that is coming up, and certainly with the youth offending services, when they've been assessing children, that's something that comes up and what's the adverse childhood experiences. The trouble is, because it ends up rewiring the brain, it's hard to unpick, and that's the difficulty. Dealing with it, you recognise it, but dealing with it is difficult because it's how the brain has wired itself to cope.
Can I just make a quick comment, then we'll move on?
Actually, we are running a knife crime project at the moment, and a youth violence project. And we've been doing it from 2003. Again, as you say, funding and things like that. So this organization was set up by young people. And actually it's for across all young people. It doesn't matter if you're Somali or not Somali. Now, our project, everything you've been saying actually, so it's early intervention from primary school. So we're looking at parental responsibilities. We're looking at how people then understand, for example, how the UK education system works. We look at, for example, we had a child who was 3 years old from a Somali community. The mother was asked to sign documents for special education. This kid didn't have any special education needs. So we had to challenge the school. And when you looked at because now a teacher can decide if a kid has got special needs. So the problem is that we have a number of young people who've been let down. So they go through the system. They go to high school, they go to a special education school when they don't have special education needs. They didn't get the support. So a lot of parents, like what the gentleman said, it's not only Somalia, you've got a lot of parents who come from Bosnia and other places, the parents have witnessed violence and things like that. So when they come over here, the mental health support system is not fit for purpose.
No.
So these parents have got issues, and kids have got issues also at the same time. So so our project looks at the root causes. For example, we invite parents. They tell us what the issues that they face, and then we work with them to come up with solutions. Because also there's an assumption that parents don't have solutions, and that's wrong.
Yeah,
So
I think if we do 1 minute and then 1 minute.
Okay. What I was going to say, of course, our friend, our brother, which is looking at the phone, Brother Birmingham, mashallah, he said very good about the sister. How we can get the sister involved with the mosques. It's years and years how we can bring equal opportunity. It is a very important, has been proved, which especially has been proved that sisters has more intelligence than the brothers in some time. Let me tell you, whatever. No, but allow me to tell you, let me finish it. It's very important. What happening was, of course, I give you an example. One of the sisters which we have, of course, Sister Salah Islam was working as a head of the Al-Manar. And after some time they said, she was the best for it. And they take him off because I don't know how many, but it came to my mind, somebody was very rich and said, no, this is not good at all, to be fair. That's wrong. We have to find a solution. How can the sisters equally managing the mother? There is no problem. No problem. Aisha was involved. Khadija was involved. Everybody was involved in it. Therefore, very important. At the moment, Sister Salah hasn't got a job and is one of the best. One of the best. Al-Manar for 4 years she was there, and after that they take him. Why? Because she is a woman. This is wrong. What we need to do, we need to work on that. It's very important. Work on that. The sister going, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha nudiya min salati yawm al-jumu'ah fasaw ila dhikrullah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. He says a man and a woman. Of course, at that time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was very difficult to go to the mosque. You know what I'm saying? But at the moment, it's not difficult to go to the mosque. These are happening. It's been changed. We have to think about it. For what the Quran says is very important. Sister, get involved with the Friday prayer. Get involved with the mosque. Get involved with the because the sisters are the people who bring this child away. The sisters are kingmaker. We do nothing. We go outside, they drive in a little bit and get some money and put it on a table. For example, or going to the shop and they're doing some work and put it on a table. That's all we do for our children. But the woman doing it. And of course, if the woman be involved in the mosque, we don't say, of course, different for imam or whatever, that's a different issue, but they can be involved. They can be chair of the mosque, there is no problem. Let's find out how we can put that one in the, how we can get involved in the
It sounds like
best,
a topic for a
absolutely, best society. Why we can't get them involved?
Yeah. I think that should go. Sheikh, sorry, Sheikh.
I suppose this has naturally moved on to the discussion.
Yeah, I was going to say, 60 seconds, starting now. Okay. One thing's that really come up, and I'm really passionate about. One thing is called therapy, which we need to get it right. Sometimes we think that we're listening. To our sheikh, our imam, our management, sometimes we're listening. Are we listening to respond? Are we listening to meaning? Are we listening to understand? When I worked in prison, for me, everybody say, well, you're here because of your behavior. But do we have a look at the volcano? We see the lava comes out. But what's in between the lava and the middle? It's the needs, the feeling. Until we don't go to the root cause of the problem, the behavior will not change. We won't be able to do it. So therapy inside the masjid is must. I know many people want to be on what? They're on the NHS. They want to see a counsellor. You know what the waiting list is? 6 months. And you only get 6 sessions. 4 of them, 2 of them is the introduction. 4 of them, by the time you start, open up the can of worm, he will say to you, thank you very much. Go back to your GP and reapply. What happened to that feeling and that needs and that emotion? So if the masjid itself try to do like an open surgery once a month, I'm happy to help for free. I'm happy to come in to give few hours of my time And at least if we can put a smile on someone's face, wallahi, in the Yawm al-Qiyamah, I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you more than that. But talking, there's a lot of people. From child to an older uncle, they've kept a lot of stuff in, believe me. We all wear a mask. We all wear a mask. And the clown was asked, why do you wear the red nose and the white paint on your face? He said, look around you. Everyone wears one, but at least my one is visible. Therapy, counseling, mentoring, coaching is key, is needed in every single masajid.
I'd like to ask Shokhat to reply to a lot of the masjid's concerns and resources and things, and about, you know, what would happen if they don't police themselves, and what could potentially happen with the government and what could they bring in.
First of all, I mean, majority of you have some connection with the masajid. You're either leaders, you're trustees, or you're in a management committee, or you're part of supporting the masjid in some way. When I look at this masjid, this has taken maybe 20, 30 years to develop. That's the time? How long has it taken? 20 years. This is, isn't this beautiful? It's a beautiful place. And the person who actually came up with the idea has just passed away, I believe. Last year. Shahid Saab. And when I met Shahid Saab a few years ago, the man was driven. He dedicated all his life to establishing this mosque. And make dua for him that Allah you know, just below this hall, there's a school, a girls' school. And I asked him and he was the one who established the girls' school. And his whole life was dedicated in building this facility. And when you go to, I mean, my job, I go to masajid every day, alhamdulillah, and I see men and women dedicating their life, literally, from Fajr to Isha, cleaning the mosque, hoovering the carpet, not asking for anyone's thank you. They're doing it for the sake of Allah. And we should respect their intentions, whatever their intention is. May Allah give them ajr, inshallah, in this life and in the hereafter. The challenge we have now that I see this is hardware, like computer. The Prophet, peace be upon him, established hardware in Makkah called Darul Arqam. Okay? Darul Arqam was hardware in the Meccan period. When he went to Medina, he established another hardware, the Madani Masjid, the Medina Masjid. But did he use the same software? Question mark. Did he use the Makkah model, the Makkah software in Medina? Yes or no?
No.
He didn't. The hardware was similar, but the software was different. When this masjid was built, started to be built 20 years ago, should we use the same software, the 20-year-old software, or the software for the 2019? What do you think? The latest software, the latest patches. You know, every day you switch on the computer, Microsoft says, new patches coming. There's a new virus. Put in a new patch. In this society, we have new viruses. Stabbing, drugs, fraud, women's problems, youth problems. Does the masjid have the right software? Yes or no? We have to start looking for the new software. The Prophet, peace be upon him, may Allah bless him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he provided the software. Unfortunately, we haven't implemented that software. We have to implement the new software. The hardware is here, mashallah, fantastic hardware. The software is in the Quran. You know, you talked about, sister, all these examples. The examples are there. You know, the Prophet, in the Prophet's time, there was drunken people. There was prostitution. There was people stabbing people. There were people, offenders. How did the Prophet deal with them? He said, to the masjid. I have a solution for you. What is the Ansar and Muhajir model? When the person was drunk, the Prophet said, go and stay in his house. He's a muttaqeen. He's a mu'min. This sister has got a problem. Come. This brother's not married. Get them together. The Prophet had examples. But the examples were delivered from the masajid. We have great leaders. Wallahi, I see Askar Saab. I see this gentleman here, the great businessman. I see CDM leader, he's gone. I know, they ring me at Fajr time. Brother, I've got a problem, what shall I do? Deep, deep problems. They need help. They need help. Okay? The masjid and Quran has the solution. It has the solution. But it needs people to implement the software patch. It needs to upgrade the software. Okay? Brother Shahid talked about governance. Governance is like the motherboard in the computer. There's no doubt. Sometimes if the software is too heavy and the motherboard is too small, it can't handle it. It has to sometimes upgrade some parts of the hardware. But the thing is that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. People like, all you people are very important to the longevity and the sustainability of the masjid. Very important. We cannot ignore the contribution that our elders have made. We should respect them and we should work with them and walk with them. The main issue that the masjid leadership is facing is who do we trust to hand over the key to the mosque to? That's the biggest challenge. Can Askar Bai, can CDM, can Dar es Salaam, can Al Farouk, can the masjid, all of you are linked to masjid. Do you have people that you can trust if you decide tomorrow to say, I have done my bit? 99% of the people say, brother, we don't have the people we can trust. What was the nickname of the Prophet?
Amin.
Al-Amin. Trust is the backbone of maintaining the development of this mosque. Al-Amin. Al-Amin. How can you develop trust with your next generation to implement the sustainability of this masjid? Shahid Saab died last year, I believe. But he built a team. There is a team here that carried on the work. The light is still on. The light is still on. How do you help to build the next leadership to carry on the work of the masajid? Number one. Last point is we have to understand ibadat. What is ibadah? Reading salah is one aspect of ibadah. But like the sister was saying, helping the poor, helping the person with counseling, helping the destitute. I was just saying to Askar Bai, I came here once to do iftari with somebody. During iftari time, you know, people leave food behind. I saw men picking up dates and rice and putting them in their bags because they didn't have no food. The next day I went to Gurdwara. This one, you know, with the golden juice here. Guess what, how many Muslims were eating from the langar? There were more Muslims eating langar than there were Sikh people. On that day, just on that day. Just on that day. And this is about 3 years ago. Okay? So I'm saying to you that the masajid has a great role to play. Huge role. And the community is waiting, inshallah, for the mosque to go to the next level. The next level. And you have all the ingredients now. You have great facility, great buildings, great leadership, volunteers ready to work. It's just an issue of governance and leadership.
Right. It coincided, I think, with reducing police numbers and the rise of the influence of gangs. And it's got to the point where it's got its own momentum, so much so that you've got children that aren't, we forget these are children that aren't involved in things, feeling that they are odd and unusual, because of the social media they read, not to carry a knife, and that it's a scary place, and they need to do that. And those that are involved, again, an example, over a year ago there was a knife crime course that was run. Every argument about why children should not carry knives was turned completely on its head to say that is why I need to carry a knife. The highest example being a lady came along to this group who had lost her son to gang violence, and very hard-hitting, very emotional part of the presentation. And afterwards they said, we hear what you say and we see that and it's upsetting for us too, but that's why I need to carry a knife, because I don't want that to be my mum. And every argument was turned around, and that is what we're up against. They're saying, I'm feared for my life, and I'm more scared of losing my life than I'm scared of the police, and I'm scared of even going to prison. Now, hopefully that is starting to turn around a bit, but I think that's what we're up against, and it got its own momentum, so that you've got really young children who aren't involved in this, who are scared of making bad decisions and leaving home with half a pair of scissors and things like that. And these are children, and we have to say you can't send all children to prison. It doesn't work. And I think you need to.
Yeah, I think because we're running a knife crime project and gun, our take is completely different. When you do a session with young people, there's blame on the police, for example. A lot of young people feel let down. A lot of parents feel completely let down. For example, when this new government came to power, we talk about the welfare changes. You go the universal credit, for example. You are paid after 5 weeks. So how are you going to survive? All that time. Also, when it comes to the confidence that young people should have in the police, for example, we have a lot of complaints where a group of young people will be standing and maybe just talking. They're actually searched. So the idea about searching, which we're actually saying that it's no longer happening, it's actually happening. So there's a mistrust of the police. Parents got issues that, for example, the connection services, where young people in high school were given career advice. The government took that off because of austerity. Libraries shutting down. We had the London riots, which actually until now the police haven't learned from it, a lot of things. So there's a lot of, some of the schools are selling the play areas, they're selling, real estate. No community services in areas. A kid wants to play football, for example. You go funding where the big lottery and others are funded, let's say, sports facilities, and these places are charging 90, 100 pounds an hour. How can kids actually use those facilities? A place in Brent, where I used to play there myself, now it's turned into a commercial. So basically this money from Football Foundation and I think the big lottery, kids cannot, during the day it's empty, and you got kids outside on the streets. So I think, to be honest, just the police, for example, are not paying attention, but and also got social media. You got, like this young boy, 14 years old, who just got killed. Because maybe of his social media involvement and all that. A lot of parents don't know how to cope with that, so there's no training for parents. So there's a lot of things.
Do you think the knife going to exchange with the gun?
I think there's already guns even.
I mean that's not gun.
Yeah, you can get a gun for £100 in Camden.
Oh dear. That is something the police have to think.
Just ask Wally for his perspective on this as well.
I agree very much with what Shabaka was saying. There's a big distrust with the police in particular. I could be standing, this happened to me maybe 6 days ago. Me and a group of friends standing in the car park, police came over. What are you guys doing here? You guys match the description. It was made up. There's something that we're used to hearing. They search you, they don't find anything, but they test you. And then even though the police have these cameras nowadays, most of the time it's not on. And young people are aware of that. The police and the young people have no communication at all. They're like Shamaki was saying, there's nothing to do. So if you're a group of kids and you come out from school and you're hanging around, people are going to approach you, say to you, do you want to make money? The ways of making money, selling drugs, very easy. And that's what appeals to the young people, because you know what, if you're going to make money from selling drugs, why not do it? People carry knives as a defense mechanism. People carry knives to stop getting attacked. I know people that, I've got friends, I know some of the kids that I've worked with, or that I know, that I'm speaking to, and I know that they're carrying a knife. They're very...
Are they scared?
No. Why would you be scared of carrying a knife?
think it's a comment that people don't feel protected by the police. I think children are doing this because they feel the police can't protect them.
And also, I think that's a very valid point that you've made here, and you've actually, because it goes on to what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a solution. Yeah. And what do the young people say when you ask them the question, why do you carry a knife? And most of the time, it's for that reason what you just said, for defense, to protect themselves. Yeah. So, okay, so now we've found the root cause of one of the issues. So what's the solution to that? They feel that their life is in danger. They feel that if they were in a situation, how would they protect themselves? How would they defend themselves? So they believe that by taking the kitchen knife with them from their mom's cupboard is going to help them in a situation. So what we should do now, and here's a solution, because this is what I do. I'm not saying it's the only solution. So what I do is that with those kids, I teach them self-defense. So I teach them to carry something that they won't get arrested for. Your hands. You can't get arrested for carrying your hands. So if you find yourself in a situation, people say, oh, well, how are you going to defend yourself when somebody pulls a knife out? Again, because there are ways. I'm not saying that you're going to become bulletproof, but some basic self-defense, even for the sisters, some basic self-defense can get them out of a lot of issues. So it's about building confidence. It's about giving them the ability that if you're in a situation, a small thing, if somebody did pull a knife out, the idea is to get out of that situation. But to get out of that situation, you need a window, a few seconds. So when that situation happens, all the kids nowadays wear jackets. Take your jacket off, if you're going to have a fight, go take it off, throw it in his face while he's fumbling around, run. You bought yourself a few seconds. I'm not saying that these are all perfect solutions, but you've got to give them a solution. Even basic self-defense can help you in that situation. So then you get confidence, you don't feel like you need to carry a knife. But most of the time you ask the kids, why you carry a knife? It's for self-defense. So let's teach them self-defense. Let's open the masjid up. I don't want to go back to the masjid again, but let's open the masjid up, and let's teach them. Let's have a class at the masjid on self-defense for the sisters, for the kids, for the brothers, so they know some basic sort of stuff, so they don't need to carry a knife.
Would the masjid be open to that, though?
No.
Yeah, do, but I just want to know if the masjid will be open.
Could I say something?
On that note, I was just going to say, at the moment as well, what we've managed to do is, there's another project that I've got, I've not managed to roll out, which, again, I'm really glad that I'm here today to be able to tell you about. Self-defense. And what we've got is, I've got an organisation from basically UK Olympics who want to offer training courses for boxing. They want to give you gym equipment. They want to give you, set up boxing rings and that at places that will actually take it. There is no catch. The only catch, I suppose, that there is, what they're hoping for is future champions to represent Britain in the Olympics. So, but in terms of funding, the funding is there. In terms of training, they'll train people to be trainers. And you get a national qualification out of that. And this is the project that I've got, but I need mosques to be on board with it. It's not, there is no catch. There is nothing to do with prevent. There is no link to anything. And literally, how do we give opportunities to our young people to have an outlet for something else? So, I can arrange a meeting, but again, I need a buy-in from people to have a look. It's not arranged by the police, we're facilitating it. It's a new thing. I've been in talks with it for the last 6 months or so. Again, hold that forward and come back to it.
Can I say something?
Just one.
One second.
No,
I'm going to forget. You were saying that sort of getting the kids in to do something. It can't just be just Muslim kids. I know you want to use the masjid, but I think it needs to be a community thing. Because if you're just teaching the Muslim kids sort of doing the self-defense or the boxing, you're going to create a divide there as well. It needs to be a community-based thing, so you've got community cohesion. I think that is really, really important.
That's right. What I was going to say, of course, that is a very short-term solution. Long-term solution is different, because these people, again, you're showing the self-defense, and of course now we are more equipped to do better things. But I remember my son some time ago, Kevin was about 15 years old or something like that, he's not mashallah big, and he said, Daddy, can you let me stab somebody? What the hell are you talking about? He said, because the people do it. I said, this is wrong. What we need to do, we need to make the job for them. They have no job, they have no prosperity, they have no future, these young people. Is that right? Therefore, they need a little bit money and quick getting from the cash, from the drug. Is that? Therefore, we need a job. We need something which they be proud of. That's what we need to do, and we solve the problem. Otherwise, we put we can of course can maybe solve the problem. This is what you say, but we need a long-term solution for all, as this sister says, for all communities, because the people are not Muslim just getting together, Muslim and other one non-Muslim getting together. So what are you doing? I'm going to sell drugs. Here you are, can do it.
But
we need for all.
It comes back to the schools. You need to, the schools need to be worked
I think
with.
schools, with schools, I think that we need to put on the agenda soon. We're coming near the end. You had a question?
It wasn't a question, but I personally thankful to every single one of you. What I can facilitate, I'll speak to the committee, I'll speak to the youth, I'll speak to the English Imam. He comes only for Zohar, Asr and Maghrib. He comes from Luton. So whatever we can facilitate, I'll let you know and what we can do, and we can take it from there. Yeah.
And did you know, brother, about this solution? Obviously, we haven't got time to go into depth. For those people who work in this field, it's about creating a relationship with the individual that you're trying to work with. Yeah? You can't communicate with a young person if they don't want to talk to you. Before you start giving them advice, before you start giving them a seer, you got to make them your friend. You got to make them love you. Yeah? This is how I work. So you find what they're interested in. You talk about the things that they want to talk about. You know, it's not a nice word, but you manipulate them. Yeah? You become their friend. When you become their friend, they listen to you like an older brother, like an uncle. Then you can start giving them the tarbiyah. Then you can start giving them the hidayah. Then you can start talking about Islam. If you go in there, oh, you're doing this wrong, they're going on your bike, mate. What are you talking about? Yeah? But first of all, you got to make them love you. And the problem is that people in this work don't know how to make those young people love and respect them. That's why you can't get through to them. That's why you can't communicate with young people, because you don't talk their language.
Thank you. I think because of the time now, should we just have a quick 1 minute closing remarks from the panel? And just a minute.
So yeah, for me, basically, the key things really are building confidence and trust in the police service. Okay, the police service are here to serve the public. Okay, we're not here as any other organisation really. So what you as a community need to do is think about what you want the police service to offer. Every community is slightly different, but again, please come back to the thought about the boxing that I've offered. They'll supply training, they'll supply kit. While I've got the offer on the table, I just want people to take it up. I can arrange a meeting, you can have a chat with them. But going forward in terms of policing, confidence and trust.
What's the solution? So many kids on the street, they're having drugs, we see every day, but if we complain to police, they ignore. Why is they doing like that?
But the police are not doing anything wrong.
They're ignoring.
Big spots there where they're selling drugs openly. We know it, everybody know it, but the police doesn't know it. That's the problem.
This is the way we are suffering here.
Okay, so
I think that's another item on the agenda. We need to discuss that.
That's right.
It's a shame to put it in the spotlight now. So Sheikh, do you want to give
that was excellent. Of course, excellent. I hope everybody's in the other part of the city and everywhere in the country, they're doing exactly the same. Because sometimes we argue, sometimes we don't argue, sometimes we laugh, and all to come together at the end and we solve the problem. It's not, for example, attacking this, attacking that. What the important thing is that we have to look our future, our fruit of our life. They're going off. We need to looking after them. We need to, like a brother, my brother's son 25, 26, daughter 25, 26, 20. They are all the same boat. What we need to do, we need to find a job for them. We need to give them a hope, somehow, hope for the future. And we need to involve them, not only by the mosque, with the communities, with the schools. Help them to find a good job, help them to find a community, help them to be somebody who enjoy. And again, I was saying, help them to go to the police. We got many very honorable things is that what we need to do, look after our children, not just going on our way and then leave the children to go wrong, and after that we sorry. What we need to do again, to find, again, I've said, we talk about 100 different things. We need to, it's like a bushes which goes all over the place. We need to cut it and trim it to see how we can do. What we can, this organization can do and take it forward and step by step take more. Otherwise, we will go in round and round and round.
Thank you, Sheikh.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sister Nazia and Brother Umar for arranging this very important gathering. I'd like to thank also Abu Bakr Masjid for hosting us today and providing such wonderful hospitality. My point is just that the masajids, at the moment in London now, there is 300 to 400 masajids and growing. Jummah prayer, 1,500 to 2,000 Jummah prayers in London. Muslims are constituting, by some figures, nearly 1 million Muslims in London. The impact of Islam in London is going to be felt, inshallah, until Qiyamah. Say inshallah. Inshallah. We have to find solutions to solve the problems in London. If we don't find the solutions to solve the problems in London, we have misunderstood our faith and we have misunderstood the purpose of the masajid. True or not true? So we have to find a way for our generation now and for the generations of the future. You have the ingredients, you have the key, and from what I've heard from Omar and Nazia and my good friend at the end, that the state institutions are coming to you as leaders, seeking help, guidance and support. Nazia's hand is open, Omar's hand is open. This gentleman, the police officer, senior member of the Met Police, somebody told me he's one of the most senior Muslim police officers in London. His hand is open. The mayor of London is a Muslim. His hand is open. What are we doing to say we want to shake your hand to solve the problem? This is what this purpose of this meeting was today. It's to take your ideas and work with these people to solve the problems of London. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you. I think both Shoka and all of you've said it all really. I mean, for me, I think in terms of reflections, I think my highlight today is all of you coming together. You know, this is what Omar and I have been dreaming of, and even Brother Shah, you know, we've always talked about this. But just to get you in the room to kind of start unpicking some of the challenges you face, and we all face challenges in different ways, maybe in some more common. But what, again, our offer of support is that we are here. You know, we're here to help and support you. You know, obviously we're here from the council. We're connected to different departments, you know, not just in community safety. There are other departments we work with. There are also other partners we work with. We work with West London Mental Health Trust, for example, GP surgeries and practices. So we are linked in, and do take advantage of that. So we've talked about the issues to some degree. We've talked about the challenges, but I think the next step is really for maybe you to think about how do we go about in resolving some of this, and who out of you is going to take some ownership of it. And I suppose we all do. We have to take some ownership for it and invite us in, and so that we can offer these things to you. So all the women, the children, etc., all the issues you talked about, there are services they're begging basically to come and reach out and work with you, because they see you having the access to a number of people that can benefit the community. So we are there, we're here to help you and support you. And the other thing is that in terms of moving on from this, the next steps, and maybe Brother Shahid's going to address some of this, is really thinking about how do you want this to evolve? Do you want to continue with these kinds of meetings? If so, how often? Who else needs to be here? What kind of things do you want to talk about? What should we plan for in terms of the agenda going forward? So that's really key for us, because then we can help drive those issues and ensure the right people are here talking to you and listening to you and helping and supporting you. So I'm going to conclude with that, but thank you everybody here for making this, I think, an effective afternoon and evening. Thank you,
just two things quickly I would like to touch on. Firstly, I would like to thank Abu Bakr Masjid, Brother Qurum, and the whole management committee, Brother Asghar, Brother Shahid, and all the guests, and all the invited guests, the panelists, and most importantly, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this happen. Because for me, I was really worried. I was worried that I was going to eat all the samosa with the panel, or take pictures with them. But alhamdulillah, we ran out of samosa, we needed more. So, but it was, for me, it was something that Nazia initiated the idea. She said to me, look, how are we going to get this together? I said, it's like, look, we plan, Allah is the best planners. And our intention to come here, we don't work on Saturday, but today to come in and to see this happening, mashallah, Allah will open ways. The other thing is, I would just like to conclude with, this is a quote, I tried to put it together. Yeah, I said, today's gang, extremism, terrorism, criminals, the worst prisoners, yeah, crime, were yesterday's young people. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Because nobody is born evil. But tomorrow's gang leaders, criminal, terrorists, extremists, bad guys, could be today's young people if we don't start the work now. Sister Roxana, who has left early, when I called her, I said, please, Sister Roxana, you're coming from the woman chaplain for 30 years. I used to go to volunteer in Holloway prison to support the chaplaincy for therapy. And every time she said, Omar, I need action. I need action. Too much talking. I said, alhamdulillah, inshallah. But if we don't prevent it, we don't start now, we're way behind our game. And mashallah, many of you, many of the masjid are doing such great work. But let's carry on. Let's don't see how far do we have to get, how far we have come. And the light is outside the tunnel very soon. But jazakallah khair.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إسرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah bless you all for an excellent meeting.